In this video, we're going to examine how to describe and graph translations only. So that is our primary focus. Let's first look at this example. Remember, translations are based off of your H and K values. And so let's first look at here what our general form is for translations. Y equals, for quadratic, A times x minus h, the quantity squared, plus k. Remember, H and K are what our translations occur. A deals with reflections on dilation, so we're not going to focus on the A in this lesson. We're going to focus primarily on just H and K. So my rules are identify first what your H and your K values are, and then that tells you what type of translation occurs from the original. So if I look at y equals x plus 1 squared, if I see here, I don't have anything added, subtracted on the outside, so really it's a plus 0. So I can see that my k value is 0. I then want to find my h value. Well, the general form says x minus h. So what number do I subtract to make this a positive 1? And so you are subtracting a negative 1. So you have an h value of negative 1. So the translation that occurs, there's no vertical movement, but the graph goes left, since h is negative, 1 unit. So I'm going to graph the original, and let's graph the original. I'll go ahead and do in black for us. So original quadratic, you have 1, 1, so 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, negative 1, 1, and negative 2 squared is positive 4. And I'll graph it again with a dashed curve. Now, if we take a look at this one, we want to take this same graph and we want to go to the left 1 unit. So I'm going to move this point left 1 unit. I can move this point left 1 unit, this point left 1 unit, this point left 1 unit, and this point left 1 unit. So every point moves left 1 unit. And so here is the graph of our translated quadratic. So when h value is negative 1, you go to the left 1 unit. Remember, I told you your h value is the opposite of what you see because the formula itself says x minus. And so you look at what do I subtract to make that a positive, and you would subtract a negative 1 for it. So let's examine how to do a translation with an absolute value. It's going to be the same idea. The absolute value, y equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. And again, h and k is where we're focusing on translation, so we're not going to focus on a. So if I look at this, I see I can put on the end a plus 0 to show me that I have a k value of 0. And then I look at how do I get my h value? Well, the original formula says x minus h. So what number are you subtracting from x? And that number is 4 itself. And so I have an h value of 4. And so since h is positive and it's horizontal movement, I'm going to go to the right 4 units. So let's graph the original absolute value. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Absolute value of negative 1 is 1, absolute value of negative 2 is 2, absolute value of negative 3 is 3. And then we're just going to use our line from there. And so I've said before, and let me fix this, I'm going to use a dashed line for these. So let me change this to a dashed line. And then I'm going to graph the translation. So I go to the right 4 units. So each point I use goes to the right 4 units. So this point goes to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. This point to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I grab this point 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can follow the same pattern, and I could just see the pattern occur. And so my absolute value is going to be V-shaped going through these points. So let me, since my handwriting is pretty bad right now, let me fix these and actually just use a line for them. And so I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to go through here. And we want, I can change the color so we can see the difference between them as we had before. And so now we see our graph was shifted to the right for units for this. And so this is video only covers translations. We only focus on H and K. If you see so far, our only K value was 0. But if I had a K value of 1 or 2 or 3, you would, for K value 1 or 2, you would just go up 2 units. A K value that was negative, you would go down that many units. And so we'll look at some examples of that in later videos. The next type of lessons we're looking at is we're going to look at reflections and dilations separately from these. So make sure we understand our H and K values before we move on to reflections.